Hey, this is Matt Witmer from Brody Precision. In this video, we are going to be continuing to take a look at PX as a part of our Niagara Basics series, and we're going to dig in a little bit deeper than we did in the first video on PX. We're going to look at making full use of all the properties and things that are available to us in our widgets, how we set up a PX as a view on a different device in our station, and how just best to make use of our PX and build them out. So, before we get started, here's a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Brody Precision, your trusted partner for building automation and controls. Now covering the entire East Coast from our Philadelphia headquarters with team members spread throughout our territory. At Brody, we do things differently. Our Philadelphia warehouse is not just full of random product. We have thoroughly tested and vetted everything on our shelves, ensuring you can get in and out of your jobs as efficiently as possible and that we can properly support you should an issue arise, even if you're the first customer to use a new product. We're here to help you from start to finish, from product selection to technical support, with highly experienced team members in sales and engineering. We pride ourselves on giving our customers a tremendous set of resources free of charge. New to the Honeywell ecosystem? No worries, we offer customized training that meets you where you are and brings you up to speed. BP Tech Center, our software and documentation repository, was built in-house to keep you up to date with automated notifications on new software and important content releases from the vendors that you use. All available exclusively to Brody Precision customers. In addition, our web store, with its real-time inventory, makes placing orders quick and easy so that you can get that order in even if it's 11 o'clock at night. To learn more, check us out at brodyprecision.com and store.brodyprecision.com. If you have specific questions or you would like a quote, shoot us an email at sales@brodyprecision.com or give us a call, 610-825-7200. All right, so here is the graphic that we were working on last time in our demo station. Just brought out a point, brought out a button, and then brought out a graphic from our KitPX N4 SVG library or palette, and we have those attached to some points in order to make them move around. So for our label here, you can see that number is changing based on the value of the point itself, and then the same thing is going on with this damper. It's following along a point as well. So typically, if you remember, what we did is we just created a PX file underneath our files. This typically isn't where you will stop after you start building the PX from a navigational standpoint. What we really want is someone to be able to go through the tree, find a specific device or place, double click on it, and then get the graphic as the default view for that device or folder, whatever. So that thankfully is really simple and easy to do. And the way we make that happen is I'm going to take our playground folder that we have here, and I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to go to views, and then I'm going to say new view, and I want to make a new view on this. I'm going to change the view name to be home, and then I'm going to hit the folder here next to my PX file and make sure that we're selecting that home PX. And then for target media, the recommended target media to use nowadays is the UX media. So we're going to make use of that. And then we are going to hit OK. You will get this warning and it says, hey, that file you selected, that already exists. Do you want to overwrite it? Do you want to clear it out basically? Or do you want to reuse it? 9 times out of 10, I think you're just going to want to reuse. So don't accidentally hit that overwrite button unless you absolutely mean to. You want to hit reuse. So we'll hit reuse. And now, if I go somewhere else in the station real quick, so I'll just go back to the summary page. If I now double click on my playground folder, I automatically get taken to that graphic. And if I wanted to get to my wire sheet like I was able to before, I just hit the drop down here on the top right, go to my wire sheet, and I can still pull that up fairly easily. So I will go back to the graphic now, and let's dive into the graphic now that we have our view set up a little bit here on that playground folder. So I'm going to hit the pencil now to get back into edit view, and we're going to pull open this bound label. Bound labels are the widget type, as I think I mentioned in the last video, that you're going to be using the most when it comes to displaying information. The idea here is that you have a binding. This is a value, a point that is giving a piece of information to the label itself. And that information in this case is animating this text field. The cool thing is on bound labels, or on labels, we can have multiple bindings that control multiple different things. But before we get to that, let me just run down this list of different interesting things that we can do on a bound label that maybe aren't immediately obvious. So we can set a blink. If I hit that to true and I go back and I get out of edit mode, you will see that that is now blinking. What that means is we can set this to blink based on specific conditions if we wanted to. So let's do that. I'm going to add a new binding. I'm just going to do another bound label binding, hit OK, and then I'm going to find a Boolean point in my station. So I'll hit the drop down here, go to component chooser, which brings up all of the nav tree under config for my station. I'm just going to find this Boolean writable point, and we'll say OK. And then we will scroll back up here to the top, and we will right-click on the blink and do animate. And then I'm going to choose from the binding dropdown. This is which binding we want to animate that property with. I'm going to make sure I'm choosing the right one, which is my Boolean. And now I'm going to say when that Boolean is true, I want the property to be true. And when the Boolean is false, I want the property to also be false. So we'll hit OK there, and then we will hit OK again. And now, I also set the status effect on here, which will pull the color in based on what the status is. We'll talk about that in a second. We don't want to look at it at the moment, just keep things simple. So if I go back into view mode, now I am blinking. Let's see. That should mean that our Boolean writable is true, and it is. So if I now set this as override inactive, make it false, and we come back to our graphic by double-clicking on our playground folder, I can see now that we're no longer blinking because we're set to false and we're animating based on that Boolean writable point. And this follows through to just about any property that you see on your list here for the widget that you're looking at. So that means I could animate my font if I wanted to, my colors manually, whatever is on here, you can do it with. Now, one thing you might be thinking, well, I would like to be able to animate the colors of things based on their status, like we were seeing with this Boolean writable for that second there. You can do that by looking at the status effect property on our binding itself. So in this case, I'm going to leave the Boolean writable as none. I don't want to change my status effects on this widget based on that Boolean writable. I want to do it based on the numeric writable. So I will change that drop down to color. I tend to prefer just the color and not the color and blink. So we'll do color and we'll hit OK, and you will see nothing happens. Why is that? Well, if we jump over to this Niagara community page, which explains all the status flags that are on Niagara related points, it also shows us what the default colors are if you are turning on the status flag effects for your graphics. So what we're seeing now is there's no color indication or anything, so there's no status flags that are being hit on this point. But if I override this point, we should see it go magenta. So let's try that. So just from the tree, I will go to my numeric writable point and do override, and I will make it overridden to 32. And you can see immediately status changes. Now it's purple. and we know that that point is overridden because of that. So a handy little sheet here that shows you all the colors. After you're using Niagara for a little while, these will just become second nature to you, and you'll immediately know what they mean when you see them. But until then, that's a handy one to get a hold of. So this status effect that is on all of your bindings will automatically handle all of those various events. If this point was to go into alarm, it would show as red to let you know that it's an alarm. So that takes down a lot of the effort involved in animating, your background color, your foreground color, based on specific status. Now, you still can animate that foreground and background color if you wanted to use them in a different way, as opposed to just the status flags that are on the point itself. That's all very, very possible. So the last little piece I wanted to show you that's available in the bound label that is super handy, especially if you want to plus up, you want to upgrade the way you're doing your graphics just a little bit. Something that you'll tend to see a lot on the internet, just in your normal daily browsing habits, is instead of having some text next to something to describe what that thing is, you will put, or designers will put like an icon that instead of having that wide bunch of text there, you have this smaller thing that indicates the exact same thing. Without having all the text. So we can do that just with the built-in functionality that's on our bound label by using this image field as well as this text icon properties here down a little bit further. So let's make use of that. I added in a Apple image here to underneath my images. The way I did that was, this is another little handy little, I don't want to say hack, but way that you can get some additional functionality by using what's in the box in slightly different ways. If I open up my modules container up here, and then I scroll down to a module that's called icons, and I expand it, you can see there's this X16 and X32. These are the dimensions. So this is 16 by 16 and 32 by 32. What I did was I just scrolled down here, found an icon. In this case, it was Apple. I copied it and then closed out of this, went into my images and pasted it in. And now I have an icon that is built into Niagara. So it looks similarly to all of the other visual language of a station. But it lets you use it in a different way in your particular project that you're working on. So in this case, I will do my Apple. I will double click on that label again. I go into my image, hit the folder icon, open up my PX, my images. I have my Apple image there. You can see that's what it looks like. 16 by 16, as we saw in the folder structure in the icons module. Hit open, hit OK, and now that icon shows up to the left of my data, and I can move it around and everything is in one piece. Now, obviously, you could do this as separate pieces. You could pull this Apple image out just right onto the PX and move it around, but now you have to worry about the spacing between these things. They might not line up exactly right. You can see that now this is a little bit above. If I push it down a little bit further, it's a little bit below, and it's not as clean and simple to do as if you put it into the label itself. And we have a little bit of flexibility here when we're putting it into the label. We can change the gap between the text and the icon. So if I bump this up to, say, 8, now I have more space between the icon and my text. And say I wanted this to be on the image to be on the other side, or my text to be on the other side. In this case, if I want the text to be on the left of the icon, I can just switch that there. And now my text is on the left-hand side of the icon. Little things like this can make your graphics definitely feel much easier to use and read much quicker and easier for your customers and end users. So definitely make use of this kind of stuff as you're building out your graphics and as you're expanding your knowledge in working with Niagara. So hopefully that was helpful and informative for you. Just a little bit of an extra look at PX and some additional things that you can make use of in your bound labels that will make your graphics look a little bit more higher quality and more up to the standards that I think most people have nowadays for their user interfaces. because they've gotten so spoiled with really good user interfaces from so many web applications and applications that they use on a daily basis. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if there's anything specific to PX that you'd like to see more of. PX are a giant thing in Niagara, and it's sort of the gateway between your data and the user. So super, super important. And yeah, thanks as always for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks.